6, 5, 4, 3.
Hi, I'm Diana Montford, the world's first transgender television journalist. Born male, became female. It's so confusing. You can imagine how I feel. Anyway, I'm going to be non-binary and whatever. But anyway, my guest is the wonderful producer, actor, writer, metaphysician, Hercules Invictus. You see him on this show all the time. He's great. You know he's great. He produces podcasts and shows about everything. And he is really, truly one of the most prolific producers I've ever heard of, never mind that. He also produces my monthly podcast called The Triad. It's about all things trans. You've seen a version of it here on television. And we also do a 1 hour long podcast on Blog Talk Radio, which is Hercules station that he's on. And anyway, and here he is, the one, the only Hercules Invictus. Hi there.
Hi there. Thank you for your kind words. How are you, Diana?
Fine. I'm so sorry. I was so late to the studio today, and Hercules has been waiting forever, and I'm a rude old pig, and I'm sorry. Forgive me, Hercules, please.
Things happen. Onwards.
Onward and upward, yes. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, I have a few initiatives starting, and I was going to ask you to become involved with one of them if you had the time. So I guess I could start talking about
Well,
that.
I'll see if my agents can find the time. Yes, of course,
Awesome.
I have the time. Come on.
What I'd like to do, and unfortunately I couldn't do it for this election to my satisfaction, but for the next election and subsequent ones, I have been interviewing people for local elections and not so local elections for years now. So I'm going to continue with that, but in a much more structured and consistent way, so that people can get a sense of who are these individuals that are running and what are they all about, and to focus on issues and local community. So that'll be an informational resource, and with it will be resources that people can go to look up more information, not just on the candidate, but on voting and on the greater issues beyond the rhetoric and so forth. Socrates, who was a Greek philosopher who was supposedly the wisest man in ancient Greece because he knew that he knew nothing. He didn't like democracy because my chihuahua's here. He didn't like democracy because if you didn't have educated electorate, what you got was tyranny. And I know that's a fear that many of us are living with right now in this election. So again, a little too late, but better late than never. So I'll be starting that very, very soon. I've talked to several organizations and individuals, and everyone seems to be interested in helping out. So I'm inviting you as well because you're awesome.
Well, thank you. So are
Your
you.
pulse on the issues of the day. So I will give you more information as it comes together.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Now, in my experience, local politicians tend to be more honest than national ones because they live right there in the town, and you can always throw rocks at them if they lie, you know?
Well, some of the local politicians have expressed an interest in continuing to do the show. And local people have been telling me they're glad of the show. I get stopped for the political shows more than anything else here locally. And a lot of people said that until they watched my show or listened to my show, they had no idea what people did. Like, what does a mayor do? We had the mayor.
I had no idea. I've been in politics 20 years until I heard your blog, your podcast. I had no idea what a mayor did. But I found out when you had the mayor of Tenafly on. You live in Tenafly, New Jersey. And he explained what a mayor does. Who knew, you know?
And I feel that information is very important, especially since they're no longer teaching civics in schools to the degree that they taught it when we were younger.
Yeah, but I went to school and nobody taught me what a mayor did.
Well, hopefully we'll spread awareness among other people so people know what the politicians do. There's a lot of misinformation out there about what politicians do and about the issues that are before us. And what voting yes or no would mean. And so again, just to have a place where people can learn about their local politicians. And we would have like little bases. We'd have one here in Tenafly for Bergen County. We'd have one in New York City. We'd have one in Philadelphia. So this way, again, we can gather resources together, put together websites, use social media, and again, not promote particular politicians, even though we each have our strong beliefs in which party or which individuals are better, but just so that people can educate themselves. How do politicians vote? How have they voted in the past? How much of what they say has been fact checked? And is it accurate what they're telling us? Who are they allied with? Who's funding them? And things like that.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've met Astrid, but you're aware of Astrid, I'm sure.
I'm very much aware of Astrid. I
She's
love
been
her.
involved a lot too. She's very active in local politics. She's been a union leader. She's been on
My
school.
kind of gal. I love, listen, unions are the backbone of America,
Mhm.
which is why all the big corporations are saying, oh, you don't want to unionize? Oh, come on. Yes, we want to unionize. Everyone should be in a union.
And we had that. I remember when I first started working back in the 70s, unions were everywhere. And
Yes.
most people I knew were in a union of some sort. And now it's very rare.
I mean, it's really a disgrace what, look, I believe in capitalism, but it's a real disgrace what capitalism has done and Reaganomics to our nation. I mean, the middle class is disappearing, or it already has. Unless you're very rich, you're not comfortable because you're always worrying about bills and this and that. This is wrong. This is not the promise of America.
No, it isn't the promise of America. And again, there used to be an American dream. And now
Yeah,
people
now it's not to wind up homeless. That's the American dream today.
and all people who are coming here because we're a beacon of hope and
Uh-huh.
prosperity are being demonized and forgetting that our ancestors came here for the same reason. And
When I was waiting for the bus to come here, a man with a very strong accent, we started talking about politics. Oh, the immigrants, he was Polish. He had a real accent. I said, well, excuse me, but we're all immigrants. And he said, yes, but we came in legally. Well, yeah, but if they fix the law so no one can get in, people are going to get in somehow.
and again, it's a tough fight for immigrants, even if you come here legally. I remember when I was growing up, and from history, I could see before I was growing up, people from the Mediterranean were once considered dark
Tell
skinned.
me about it. My mother's family's from Spain. You're Greek. Yeah, I think
And
we get the picture.
we had the Klan
Oh,
after
God, yes.
too. And
Well, I think they still exist. And let's not forget that Donald Trump's father was a member of the KKK.
yes, I've heard that. And so again, we're integrated now, and most people would consider us white now, I guess. But back then, we were considered dusky skinned, and we were the brown skinned people who were
And dangerous
with
because we're
the
so
country.
uncivilized.
Yes. So
We're just mad peasants out to rape and pillage.
yeah, and do you want your daughters to be around them, and they're going to come to your neighborhoods, and they're going to make them filthy, and all these things were said about us as well. So these are old tropes. They go back thousands of years, and they're still pernicious and false.
Well, whoever the new group is, they're the ones in the social doghouse. Although I will say that we Mediterraneans, to this day, we're considered iffy by the English and all those people.
Yeah, yes, I know. And with Greeks, we don't consider ourselves white. That was something for Europeans, who didn't have their
You
own
look mighty white to me, honey.
civilization, and we were Greek, and
Who
that
invented civilization? Hello.
so it's all in the eyes of the beholder and whatever definitions people want to hold on to, and it's just very strange, but it's a fact of our lives in this here and now.
Yeah, and it's really sad that unions, I don't know who talked people into not being in unions, because as you pointed out in the 70s, I'm 2 years older than you are.
Mhm.
So we both grew up, and I lived in New Jersey for many years. Palisades Park, Maywood, Paramus, Hackensack, Union City. I really,
Next door, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, and you know, you'd go to the VFW hall and hang out because it was fun, you know. I know it's crazy, but it was fun. So there weren't a lot of places to go to, you know.
Mhm.
So, but all that's gone now, you know.
A different world. We live in the information age, and that's been interesting. I remember when I wanted to get a rare book because I like to read and I love metaphysical books,
Yeah, I
which
do
back
too.
in the day were hard to find.
Yep.
So you had to go to antiquarian bookstores, you had to go to the Strand, you had to go to Weiser,
Yeah, you had to come into Manhattan and go, yeah,
and go to
exactly.
one of those places, and it would take sometimes up to a year to get your book, and it would cost like hundreds of dollars. Now you could find dozens of free copies with different translations on the internet for free. You know,
Mhm.
so in a way, it's very good in terms of getting information, but in a way, it's very bad. It seems to have eroded our social structure. You know, once you eliminate space and time, and you can communicate instantaneously and globally and record it so that it's available for posterity, there's less need for people to have conversations and to meet in um, halls and listen to speakers because you
See,
can get it all from sitting at home.
I actually have like living, breathing, in the flesh friends. And that's why I was late to the studio today. Because as I've said, I met a friend as I was leaving my house.
Hmm.
And I couldn't just say, well, yeah, I told him, look, I'm late, but I had to listen and, you know, a little back and forth, you talk. And I mean, apparently young people have a terrible time with like the normal life of people talking and being and just, you know.
Right. I see them doing it on live, and we all seem to be connected to devices now. And I see people walking down the street. I see people talking to seemingly nobody, but they have some sort of microphone that connects them with somebody. Back in the 70s, somebody was walking around emphatically talking and just
You
gesticulating.
think schizophrenic? Oh my God. Yeah.
That would be the belief. And now everyone's just talking to invisible people and who might be on the other side of the planet. And it's very interesting. I might have shared this on your show, but I remember when I was young, there was a belief that shamans were promoting that through crystals you could communicate long distances. You can see scenes from long ago or far away,
Right.
some of which aren't true, some of which were created by the imagination. And we used to laugh at the shaman, or at least anthropologists did. And now we live in that age. We live in an age where through crystals, we can tune into things that happened long ago or happening far away. And not everything we see is real. It's an illusion because it takes place on the internet or the astral plane, which is the occult equivalent of the internet. So it's that's very interesting, and I'm glad I lived through that portion of history.
Yeah. And our wonderful friend, Michael K. Waterman,
Hmm.
AKA Setna,
Yes, setting of
he,
commit.
he's very good with, he gave me a pink crystal and it works beautifully. I mean, I always carry it with me. He's a sweetheart, you
Most
know?
sports probably that's a
Yeah, that's it. Rose quartz.
yes.
Yeah. And he's so nice. And folks, you'll be seeing Michael K. Waterman on this show soon enough. But yeah, I mean, I think it's very sad. And I really think that unions are extremely important, especially the way management is taking gross advantage of labor. And what is going to happen to all the jobs, like kids' jobs, you know, like working at McDonald's or something when robots are doing it?
Right.
How are people going to live? They won't be able to get any kind of job.
Eh,
Yes, your Chihuahua agrees with me.
Chihuahua agrees. Yes, she has a
The
strong
Marxist
opinion.
Chihuahua agrees with
Sometimes
me.
she
Power to the people and the
sometimes she
Chihuahua.
expresses it. My wife's probably coming home, and so that's why the dogs are barking.
So anyway, what are we going to do? If this is worse than the Gilded Age. apparently income inequality is stronger now than it was in
Yes.
the 1880s. Is this possible?
Yeah, there are new ways of making money, but it's a gamble, and like everything in life, I guess, ultimately and eventually. But there are new things to do and new ways of making money. They're hard if you're not born into the mindset like kids are.
Right.
Like I've been able to monetize some of the things that I'm doing the new way, and some
Yeah,
others.
but no, you're a special case. You're very bright. You're really intelligent. You're tuned into all sorts of things. I mean, just a really simple person who just wants a nice job at J.C. Penney or at McDonald's or at Burger King. You know, not someone who can really figure things out. Just someone who wants a job, you know?
Right. Yeah,
What are you going to do?
have jobs now. Again, they're more difficult to get in some ways unless you want to get into a service occupation, like you mentioned, working in fast food or security or something. Those will still require people. They were appreciated during the pandemic, and then it went back to not being appreciated again.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're right. I remember there were cashiers once upon a time. I worked as a cashier years ago when I was very young. And now you have scanners, so they expect you to scan, all your
Yeah,
items.
but they don't like that because they found that some people are shoplifting that way.
Yes, that's
Now
why
they're going to have more cashiers
scanners. Yes.
just to protect their merchandise and their profits, you know.
Yeah,
But
but not as many as before. Not a cashier on every cash register, or every few cash registers to have somebody on them because of when they have peak hours.
mhm.
Uh, but it's very rare to get somebody bagging also. In addition,
Yeah, and I always thank both the person who rings up the groceries and the bagger, you know.
yeah, we've
I
had to
mean,
bag our own stuff
just
here.
say thank you. It's not a big deal, you
Bagging.
know.
Yeah, we thank the cashiers too, but there's no baggers anymore, so we have to bag. And
Well,
when I was younger, that was no problem because again, I did that too in my journey in the world of employment. But now I have neuropathy, so taking things and
well,
strategic.
tell them, and maybe the manager will come over and bag it for you.
No, I struggle with it, and then I get help sometimes from family members who are with us shopping. They'll help me bag things. But
Well, now, you know, Michael K. Waterman and I both sold cosmetics. We were makeup artists. We
yes,
were makeup artists at the same time at the same place at Bloomingdale's here in New York. And that is one profession, and yes, it is a profession where, you know, you're not going to, people need to, an artist needs to look at a face to
right.
design a makeup, you know?
But now they have computer programs that
I know.
that can add the makeup later.
Yes, but what if you're going to a party? You're not going to, I mean, you know.
Very true. But again, it's a different world, and I guess we have to adapt to it and modify how we do things and figure out new ways of doing things. And the world changes faster, so they won't last as long as they did before.
Well, you know, my grandmother was born in 1890 in Spain, and she
Mm.
always lived with us because she was widowed like at 53. And
Uh,
my mother got married, and naturally she brought her mother with her. And much to my father's
I need to
chagrin.
take this. I'm
But
so sorry.
yeah, but anyway, so
Yes.
um, in the
Okay,
80s,
I'm on
when
TV.
my grandmother was dying, I used to think the changes this woman has seen, horse-drawn carriages, horse-drawn trolleys, oil lamps, gaslight, and now, you know, the world of the 80s with then high-tech stuff. I just used to think she must be so lonely for her time and her loved ones from her youth, you know, who are all gone, you know?
Yeah, we all have to deal with that, it seems. That seems to be part of the process of getting older, losing the world that you knew to a new world. My grandfather used to talk about how when he moved to Manhattan from Greece, there were horse-drawn carriages and
Yeah,
farms where there were now tall buildings.
exactly.
And they used to talk about how, they used to have to take a boat for weeks to get here to this nation from the Mediterranean, and now it would take hours, mere hours, to fly here. and that we had actually gone to the moon. And so they had to deal with that, and we have to deal with what we're dealing with. I guess it's
Well, you know, speaking of all that change, there's that famous scene where Marilyn Monroe's standing over the subway grating.
yes.
Well, that's 52nd and Lexington Avenue. Being a diehard Maryland fan, I went to 52nd and Lexington Avenue, hoping to see all those stores behind her. No, all gone. Big office tower. You know, it's completely different.
Yes, it is. And well, we still honor that which we knew, and we try to bring the best of it into the world that we're getting to know, and hopefully some of that best stuff will come back and enrich the world we're living in for everybody.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Supposedly, we are ascending to the fifth dimension
I've-
from the third dimension. It's taking a long time. Do you think maybe it will happen soon?
In my set of beliefs, and again, my beliefs are temporary. They're there until I get better beliefs. But you know, and if I learn something new, I try to modify my beliefs so that in my beliefs, this world is like a school of some sort. It's not
Sure.
a psychic prison. We're not being sent here to be tortured by invisible beings who may be playful or may be malicious, but we're here to be tormented. We're not here because some deific force hates us or is waiting to see if we mess up so we can burn forever in lakes of fire. I believe that this is a schoolroom of some sorts. And I also believe that all of us are divine, not we're becoming divine, but we're already divine. So in my personal belief, and again, it may be wrong, but this is what I'm currently operating on. Just like every night you have dreams and you could train yourself to remember the dreams. And in the dreams, sometimes you're yourself, sometimes the world is very similar, sometimes it's very different, sometimes you're someone else. I believe that our waking experience is that of a dream of some sort. And that on some level of consciousness, we're not becoming fifth dimensional beings or 12th dimensional beings or whatever, how many dimensions people split up in, but we're already that. We have a center of consciousness, and some people call it the I am, because that's whatever you declare yourself to be, that's what you create for yourself in a way.
But we seem to have focused for millennia, or what we consider time, on the third dimension, and now supposedly we're, you know, growing beyond that and going to the fifth dimension.
Or
And
maybe
no, I don't mean the 1960s musical group, you know.
maybe we're already there, and this is our entertainment. Or our school, because the ancient Greeks believed that this was entertainment. And
Well, a lot of metaphysicians say that the line forms to the left to come to Earth in a physical body.
that's what
And
I've
we're
heard.
the lucky ones. We're the ones who won the lottery and got to come here. And we came here to talk about living in interesting times.
Yes, yes, we did. But I've always thought a lot of that was because imagine you're given amnesia and you're sent in a place that has guidebooks, but has too many guidebooks for you to even read during the course of a lifetime, all of which are warring with each other about what is actually going on. And then depending on what decisions you make here while you have amnesia and you've been traumatized and you have too many ways you can possibly go, whatever you decide, if it's not the right thing, you're going to burn forever in lakes of fire. That doesn't sound right to me, and I don't think that that's true. I think that we're here to learn, and what we're learning is the power of our own creativity, and that's I guess that's the easiest way I could communicate it, and that's a whole other conversation because I'm starting a spiritual group, but it's not based on belief, and like
What is it based on?
it's based on exploration. So what if this is entertainment? Where does that take you? What if this is a schoolroom? Where does
The
that?
reviews are lousy. What can I tell you? If this is our idea of entertainment, this world,
But
maybe
it's
we should rethink our take on entertainment.
think about it. What type of things do you watch on TV, or what type of movies do you see? Is everybody having a wonderful time, and is everything beautiful?
No, but I mean, come on, eternal wars and
Where
destitution and
seek out entertainment, that's what we look for. The hero is the person going through crap, lots of crap, and everything's falling apart. So, and we root for the hero because we recognize the hero. We don't give ourselves the same consideration, but we're attracted to these type of tragic, horrible, difficult things for entertainment. So, like, also we have choice. We could read anything, but a lot of people like reading murder mysteries or
Yeah.
books
Yeah.
about demons possessing people, and so when we choose our entertainment, we often choose those type of things, and we experience them vicariously. So part of us
Yeah.
is experiencing it, and part of us isn't touched by it at all. So that's what led to my belief that maybe this is some form of educational entertainment that we're experiencing while we're here, because we are drawn to these things. I got there when there was a computer game named Diablo,
Yeah.
and I love Diablo. I used to play Diablo all the time. And then one day during my meditation, I asked myself, why am I putting myself in hell every day for an hour or whatever? I was playing Diablo for recreation. Why I could do something else that would make me feel a lot better. But I made a conscious choice to go to hell every day and live in the Diablo world. So that's when I started looking at this life as maybe it's the same type of thing, because there are cycles of repetition in human history where it's like the same game, but it's updated, and it's
Right. Sure.
so
Well, I mean, yeah, it's whatever. I would prefer not to incarnate on this earth again,
mhm.
but is it up to us, or are we assigned this? Is this like
I
a
think
homework assignment you don't want to do, but
I
gotta do it?
think it's a little of both. And again, this is just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's true. It just means that I'm looking at it this way now, and it
Well,
makes
there is no objective truth, is there?
yeah,
Whatever an
it is.
individual's truth is, that is their truth. And maybe, like they say, when you die, heaven is whatever you want it to be.
Right. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. So, I mean, a psychic told me that my father's idea of heaven is, frankly, the shit neighborhood he came from in Baltimore during the Depression. And he found other family members and friends who also liked it then and there.
So there
And
you
that's
go.
their take on heaven. Can you believe this?
I can believe it because we all have that idea. What's your favorite moment that you've had in life? You'd want to return there. To somebody else, that might not be a fun place to be or to go, or things to do. But for you, if it's what gave you joy and gave your life meaning and made you feel more one with the one, then
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's your heaven.
Honey, we're out of time. My guest has been the brilliant. How can they contact you? Very quickly.
They can go to hercules.invictus@gmail.com or Hercules Invictus on Facebook. That'd be
Okay, my guest has been Hercules Invictus. I'm Diana Montford. I love you a lot. I'll see you next time. Bye.
two. Thank you very much. Take care, Diana.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, great.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Diana. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. I'll let you know when it airs, and I'm so sorry I was late. Really, I'm really sorry.
That's okay. I'll air the rough cut
Sure,
on.
air tonight. Sounds good to me.
Okay, be well.
Okay, you too. Thanks.